Hello everyone, welcome back in our channel Optometry with Tariq. I Tariq Malik welcome you back again on our channel, and today's small topic which we will be discussing is about primary and secondary deviation. So if you are new to our channel and visiting us for the first time, please do subscribe our channel so that all the notification regarding new videos will be soon given to you. So let's start the video. First of all, we need to understand what is primary and secondary deviation. So in this video, I'll be discussing about what is primary deviation and what is secondary deviation, why there is a difference between both of them, and what is it helpful to understand. So let's start it. So what is primary and what is secondary deviation? The term primary deviation basically means the deviation of the eye on the affected side with the normal eye fixing. So for example, my patient has a right eye which is having squint because of paresis or a paralysis of muscle. So when I measure the deviation with your normal eye, the one eye which is not having any squint, I make that eye fixate onto the target, and I calculate the deviation with the help of prism, or rather with the help of other techniques. So that deviation is what is called as your primary deviation. So if you can see in this picture below, here the patient actually has a squint into the right eye. So basically the right eye is the one which is affected. So if you can see, we are asking the patient to fixate with the left eye, and there is a deviation, there is a slight ESO deviation into the patient's right eye. So when you ask the patient, the left eye, so this is what the deviated eye is, or the affected eye is. Okay, so primary deviation would be basically the deviation of this eye when you ask the normal eye to fixate. So then what is basically your secondary deviation? So when we talk about secondary deviation, it is the deviation of your normal eye. So it is just opposite of what you did in the primary deviation. So here you ask your patient to fixate with the affected eye, the one which is having your paralysis or paresis, and you will see the deviation in your normal eye, how much it is deviating. So if you see here, what we have done is we have occluded, or rather partially occluded, the normal eye so that the affected eye can fixate. So the moment affected eye slightly becomes straight to take fixation, the deviation is seen onto the normal eye. One thing to note here is basically that when you see the primary deviation is comparatively less, but the moment you do a secondary deviation, that is basically the deviation of normal eye, when you ask your patient to fixate with the affected eye, it is quite larger, or we can say the angle of deviation is much more than your primary deviation. Now this is one of the key signs that it is a paralytic squint. Generally what happens in paralytic squint, primary angle of deviation is lesser than the secondary angle of deviation. Now why is this concept happening? Why there is a change in the deviation when you change the fixation from your normal eye to the affected eye? So let's go a bit deep into this and understand how this particular mechanism is happening. So if you can see in this diagram, it is similar to what has happened to the previous slide. So in the first one above image, if you see, we are asking the patient to fixate with the normal eye, and we have occluded the affected eye. So what has happened here? So here is basically the right eye, this is the left eye. So if you can see in the diagram, there is a paresis into the lateral rectus of right eye. And because of this paresis, what is happening, the eye is going into an esodiated state, because lateral rectus is unable to have that much effect and keep the eye into a straight position. So what happens, the medial rectus starts overacting. So it is overacting and pulling your eye inwards, giving you an esodiation. So this is how normally it happens, correct? Next, when you ask your patient to occlude, or rather to fixate with the affected eye, and you occlude the normal eye, now what happens here is that when the patient tries to fixate with the affected eye, okay, so for the affected eye to straighten up, it requires your lateral rectus to give more innervation to make your eye straight. Because of the paresis, it is inward, so to make it straight, compared to a normal stimuli, it need to have 3 times the more stimulus to keep it straight, or rather make it straight. Now we all know there is something called as Hering's law. Now Hering's law state that there will be an equal and simultaneous innervation to a pair of your agonist muscle. So here the agonist is basically your right lateral rectus and left medial rectus. So if the right lateral rectus is being given 3 times the more innervation compared to normal, so simultaneously what will happen, your medial rectus of the left eye will get 3 times more the innervation than required, and because of this excessive innervation the eye will go to a more inward, or rather a more esodiated state compared to the earlier position. So here if we can say the reason why there is secondary deviation is larger is because of the increased innervation to the paresis or the paralytic muscle, and because of which there is a simultaneous flow to the agonist, and that leads to an increased deviation as compared to your primary one. So in primary what happens, there is an equal innervation of flow and only that much how much is required, so the deviation is less. But the moment you will ask your patient to fixate with the affected eye, so the paratic muscle needs more innervation than normally required, and because there is a simultaneous flow in the agonist pair of muscle, the other agonist, like for example here for right lateral rectus it is the left medial rectus, so that will receive more amount of innervation leading to more amount of your deviation. So this is how the particular mechanism of primary and secondary deviation is happening. So this is one more example here. If you can see, in this patient we are asking him to fixate with the normal eye, which is again the right eye, which is normal, and here what happens, that patient's left eye is the one which is affected. So what is happening here, the patient has a left lateral rectus palsy. So if you can see, the left eye is slightly deviated inward. So when you ask the patient to fixate with the normal eye, the deviation is comparatively less. But the moment you ask your patient to fixate with the left eye, so what will happen, because it requires more innervation in the lateral rectus of left eye, the agonist pair, which is your right medial rectus, will receive almost increased innervation leading to more amount of inward movement, and that will increase the amount of deviation, and secondary deviation would be higher or greater than your primary deviation. So this was all about your primary and secondary deviation. I hope this video would help you to understand what is primary and secondary deviation, what is the difference between them, and what is the physiological role of your Hering's law. That is what is happening into your primary and secondary deviation. Thank you for watching this video patiently, and I hope it will help you to understand squint more better way. Do subscribe our channel and like this video if you have got useful information from it. Thank you, and see you soon in a new video on various topics of optometry. Thank you and goodbye.